Everybody just wants to be a Lord of Death. Spiky Bits. We're back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and we have a treasure trove. Well, maybe just like 10 or so, but we're only going to show you 3 new Wargame exclusive miniatures. They sent over a ton of stuff to us, and we got them all put together. But the one I've been wanting to show you for years, but it's been sold out. The Imperial Death Lord is a really cool miniature that I've been waiting to get my hot little paws on. So let's jump right into it. So over at WargameExclusive.com, they have all sorts of boutique miniatures for you to choose from, whether you just want to paint something up or you need a suitable alternative for your army. They probably got you covered with something dope over here. Their quality, I mean, I've shown you this stuff for the past 4 or 5 years or so now. I just can't say enough good things about the quality of cast, the sculpts, the detail. I mean, if anything, there's too much detail, I think could be the only complaint. Nudity from time to time, but it is what it is right there. So today we're gonna show you, what do we got? We Death Lord with AKA not Mephiston, and a couple of the tech priests as well. So first up, let's jump into the tech priests. I'll show you those right here. So these guys are pretty cool. They got a whole like section of tech stuff that you can use, and floaty cars and all sorts of different things. They even have some upgrades for, I think, the big robots too. The newest releases here, they have a Dark Priest, which is more on the Dark Mechanic kind of side. But you know, you could make a chaosy themed AdMech army and just be like whatever, and that would be a pretty neat project. But they also have the normal Dominist style or not Dominist style tech priest over here too, and these are 24.99 euros. So you're looking at right around 30 bucks ish out the door once you get the conversion. Of course, you know, you gotta always do shipping and stuff like that. So these guys we're gonna take a look at today, and also I had to put it on a different tab because you have to actually search for it right up here. If you need to look for anything, you can definitely search stuff, but I just found it easier already to just have it ready to go. And there he is, the Imperial Death Lord, aka not Mephiston, 29.99 euros. So it's gonna cost you a little less than the GW Mephiston character that now came out in Primaris around the holidays, but this model is pretty dope. Let's just take a look at some of the detail. I've been wanting to take a closer look at this thing for a very long time since it's been out. It's always been sold out. They haven't been able to send me one, and finally I'm like, yo, you got that Death Lord? Let me get that Death Lord. I want to see it and compare it to the new Mephiston. And of course, we got one in our hot little hands today, so I'm really excited about that because Mephiston for me is one of my favorite characters out there in the Wargames, and it's really cool to see some of these other alternate counts as miniatures out there that you could use if you really wanted to. And of course, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with just picking up a model just because it looks dope and you want to paint it too. You don't necessarily have to have a use for it in game, but sometimes it's cool to get those characters that haven't been made or maybe look a little bit different, more fits your vision of a particular faction or particular need for your tabletop hobby right there. So we're going to take a look at the Adept Dark Priest today. Now all these miniatures, if you haven't seen them, they're Grimskull miniatures. They're sold by Wargame exclusive out of Eastern Europe, so it's going to take like a week or two, to get them in. They have pretty good shipping rates. I think it's like 80 bucks US or something silly, and they're going to come in a clam pack kind of blister. Well, I guess not a clam pack, I guess it's a blister pack is the technical term for it. There's not going to be any foam or anything in here, but I really don't think there needs to be. There's just a little plastic and then your base, and there's place back here for the UPC. So if you're a retailer and you're looking for some different miniatures to maybe carry in your store, they do have some options to pick up wholesale miniatures, so you can check that out on their website as well. So it's kind of cool, because everybody's got about 20 bucks to go into a game store to kind of spend, I feel like, these days. Now once you get really into it, you're gonna see all the different parts, and for this one we'll just kind of show you a nice little sealed baggie right here. And there really isn't any rhyme or reason, and sometimes there's different options too for different miniatures as to how they put them together. They just kind of computer slice them, and in a lot of cases you're probably just gonna have to look at the site just to kind of get an idea of how it goes together. This one I actually think has 2 different pew weapon options, but we'll find out here in a few minutes. But yeah, great looking sculpts and everything. You can tell it's very well done for the most part. I haven't had any issues with broken parts or anything, but I imagine if you could just email them if you do have an issue with something like that. They'll get you sorted pretty good. And here she is, all assembled. Now, we talked about a little bit on nudity earlier, and you know, sometimes there is going to be nudity on these models. That's just the way it is. You know, I suppose if it bothers you, don't buy it, but maybe it doesn't, or maybe you're just going to convert it to be something a little different. But some of these models have options for armor plates or things on the front. Some of them don't have an option to disassemble it any different. So just kind of keep that in mind. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but it is what it is right there. Now, I like this miniature just because it's kind of got these like faux defiler legs and lots of good chaosy detail. This probably wouldn't look good in like an Imperial army just because of all the, you know, the trim and the little, we'll call them spiky bits, pun intended, all over the model. But you could definitely use it as some sort of like converted Mechanicus or maybe Tech Priest or something like that, or Warsmith, so to speak, for chaos if you really wanted to. But I think it's a great looking miniature. It's on a 50 mil round base that has lots of detail and lots going on with it. And then if you compare it to like a Dominus miniature, which, you know, you could definitely use it base size wise, it's about as high. So I guess you wouldn't really have to worry about it kind of explaining it to anybody else. But I mean, as far as that goes, I think it's a good representation. It good counts as a miniature, and obviously it would look better in a chaos themed kind of list. Next we have the good guy Tech Priest, old Grandpappy Dominus Melius. This guy's kind of cool. He reminds me of Jetfire from the Transformers Michael Bay movie, where it's like walking around with a little cane, all wheezing and talking about the old days, so to speak. But this is a cool one, and I definitely like the detail work on the bases and everything that they always crank out. So there's always something going on. No lack of detail, that's for sure, when it comes to Wargame exclusive and Grimskull miniatures, and lots of extra accessories here. All this I'm sure is going to go together somehow, but we'll figure it out probably right there. Here he is, all assembled, ready to go. So he's not quite as chaosy looking, of course, and he's got some of this shroud all over his little robot legs. He kind of looks like a miniature version of Baller Sirius, I suppose, but definitely has some character in and of himself. I like this little rangefinder scouter version of the I don't know, I guess that's his Force stave or something like that, Mechanicus stave. So how's he compared to the evil chaosy version? Well, he's about the same. You could almost make the argument that this is indeed a lady, because the statue seems just a little bit smaller. So I mean, generally, you know, if you compare a female to a male, they're going to be a little bit smaller, and definitely see that right here, right down to, you know, the Augments or the Cybertronic Bix. And then there is the Dominus himself. So a little bit more familiar of a look. Got the cane, got the robes, got the staff, got the little power nacelles on the back right there, but just a little bit more hunched over. Definitely the same size base, but just a little bit different of a look, I suppose. That maybe that's what you're kind of going for out there. But either way, I think both would be at home in any AdMech list. Now, last but certainly not least is the Imperial Deathlord. This is the one I've been waiting to get my hot little hands on, and he has not disappointed thus far. So rather large miniature, obviously Primaris size, and he's got a lot of different bits, and I'm not even sure you need these tassels, but we're gonna assemble them with it. Lots of different options. You got some pads, a dope sword, here's a pew pistol, some vents, some backpack, and the rest of his legs that look to socket into here. Oh, there's a little bit right there. We got clean up a little bit. So either way, lots of different options here. Not too hard of an assembly. Let's get it together and kind of take a closer look at the overall product. Boom goes the Lord of Death Dynamite. Look at this Chungo. He's kind of the Chungo. He's a Primaris Chungo. We got him all assembled. You can see where the leg section here and the tabard goes. Basically in here's a little bit of gapping, not too bad, and a plasma pistol, textured base. I mean, there is just so much detail going on this miniature here, and he's got like the great pose, like he's about to Vader force choke somebody. Lots of areas to blend back here on the cape. He's got a double cape. His cape's got capes, and like I said, this is the tassels, but I don't think you have to super put them on here. You can just have this like crazy like cowl, and then like a grimdark little hood thing is right there to kind of go along with his psychic hood, spooky Dracula cowl thing back here. But I mean, overall, I think it's a very well done miniature. Lots of cool details, and you know, some really interesting design on the sword right there. But I love it. Now, how does he compare up to the actual Mephiston, the not Imperial Deathlord, the actual Lord of Death himself? Well, this is the Primaris version. There we go. Now you can see that they're definitely very similar proportion wise. They got some some really great poses on both. You got your classic Mark Gibbons artwork pose over here where he's sneezing or blowing his nose, whichever you want to pick. And then you've got that about to Vader Force choke from the top rope, smite somebody with this Imperial Death Lord over here. So I like both for what they are. I think at a time this was definitely something that was going to be seen a lot on the tabletop in a lot of people's collections. I definitely like this miniature, and it would be a fun, either of these would be very fun to paint up, but this one right here definitely has a lot more opportunity to kind of go wild and really get some detail work done and work in some of the techniques and glazes and just all sorts of different things that we really crack out to as hobbyists and want to put our own spin on a particular model right there. So, well, that's it. We got all three of them, all three of these new-ish Imperial models. Obviously, I've been wanting to show you this one for a while, and I figured it was a good opportunity. And then we got some AdMech guys too. So we know there's a lot on the horizon for the AdMech coming up here soon. So hopefully we'll see a lot more these on the tabletop, a lot more work in progress, a lot more product shots, and a lot more releases from Wargame exclusive too here in the near future. So make sure you check them out over on their website, their website too, wargameexclusive.com, and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all of our videos.